Roots of the current crisis grew from the breakup of the Soviet Union, as Vladimir Putin has given his justification for ordering the invasion of Ukraine and the reasons that the rest of the world rejects. But this relationship between the two nations is rooted in a long history that stretches, as I just said, back even before the Soviet Union. Rafi Andonian is an author and historian here with some perspective and what we also can expect in the days ahead. Good morning. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
You've written several books, 3 of them to be exact, on history and connecting the past and the present. So let's do that. Let's talk way back into the 90s and how this current crisis really stemmed from back when the Soviet Union was still together and then in their breaking up.
Yes, what you see is after the Soviet Union, there's this sort of grasp for Russia to reassert itself, right? And I would say that the Soviet Union is more a proxy that is used as the glory days of Russia, if you will. I think Russia and the Soviet Union are separate things, but Putin certainly kind of seems to intermix the two to help sell, the dominance of Russia, if you will. And you kind of fast forward 10, 12 years from there to 2004, and you have the Orange Revolution between, the pro-EU forces and the more pro-Russia groups within the Ukraine. And that kind of flares up again in 2014 when you have, this claims of corruption, as you did in 2004. You have a leadership in Ukraine that's probably propped up by Russia and the annexation of Crimea, of course. And what that leads to is, I think kind of a more common national Ukrainian identity, because when Putin did that attack, I think that it helped unify Ukraine to some extent, but Putin is still trying to play on those divisions between the eastern side of Ukraine that is more pro-Russia and Orthodox in religion, and the western side of Ukraine that's more pro-EU and Catholic in religion.
You were just touching on and summarizing how this conflict was really starting to build in the recent years. Let's talk about, my big question for me is, of all the different areas that annexed and separated away from the Soviet, why Ukraine?
There's a historic tie there that goes generations and generations and centuries. And I encourage people to do some research on Kievan Rus, which is the old Russian Empire, if you will, that goes back about 1,200 years to about 600-700 years ago. And that area includes what is today Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. And that's sort of, the old Russian identity of Russian Empire. I think that Putin is really thinking about that mindset. That's kind of what he's inherited. It predates the Soviet Union. And if you look in that era, it includes the steppe region, as it's known, with Ukraine as a part of the Great Plains, rich in farmland, a lot of opportunity there economically. And there are efforts to colonize that area for generations in that era to help them speak Russian, to turn them to speaking Russian, to take local natives as they see it, who are maybe not as civilized in their perspective, and bring them up to Russification and make them more civilized. There's a romanticization of the native population there that, while was there, is the other, is kind of alien to that region in the views of those people at the time.
The views, the historical identities really playing here. And it seems that Putin is really trying to take advantage of that conflict, not just within people individually, but within communities within Ukraine that are still having that battle within themselves and with different groups.
That's right. It's these communities that are talking about, are they going to be more pro-EU or going to be more pro-Russia right now? One thing to keep in mind, recently in 2019, you have Zelensky, who's elected as the head of Ukraine. And I don't think Putin likes that very much because he's very pro-EU. And I think that he was elected in a landslide. So that's a little bit worrisome if you're Putin, right? And you're trying to keep them pro-Russia.
Rafi Andonian, we're going to have to wrap it up here. We could talk about this all day long. Thank you so much for your historical perspective. We do appreciate you this morning. Take care. 8:28 is your time. Healthcare services are